The man was about to check out at the front desk when he happened to notice that a young and beautiful girl was staying in the next room. Just one glance, and he was completely captivated by her stunning looks and her curvaceous figure. Losing all sense of himself, seeing that the girl was also staying at this hotel, the man decided on the spot not to leave, choosing instead to stay another day, with the excuse that he had to accompany a client on a hunting trip the next day. Arthur was wide awake at this moment, so he wandered over to the bar next to the hotel, planning to have a couple of drinks. Little did he know the wheels of fate had already begun to turn. As he approached the bar counter, he unexpectedly saw that blonde beauty again. Upon learning that the girl was a bartender, Arthur intended to casually ask the boss for some information, inquiring about the girl's relationship status. But just as he was about to do so, the girl accidentally dropped something, and the tray clattered to the floor. Her posture as she bent down to pick up the tray made Arthur's heart race like a little deer running wild, but constrained by social etiquette, he ultimately couldn't muster the courage to strike up a conversation. After returning to the hotel, Arthur tried hard to compose himself, deciding to prioritize his work above all else. While he was distractedly handling his gun, loud and chaotic arguing suddenly came from outside. Arthur didn't dare let his guard down, quickly grabbing his pistol, tucking it into his pants, and rushing out the door, only to discover a drunk man was pawing at the girl, attempting to do something inappropriate to her. Arthur appeared at the crucial moment, scaring off the drunken man, who then turned and fled in a hurry. Logically speaking, this would be the start of an exciting story, but upon reconsideration, tomorrow he still has to accompany the client on a mountain hunting trip. Overexerting himself clearly wasn't a wise choice. With that thought in mind, Arthur went back to his room and slept soundly. If that drunkard was a beast in gentleman's clothing, Arthur's behavior was even more disgraceful than that of a beast. Early the next morning, Arthur arrived at the supply station ahead of time to wait for the client. Coincidentally, that blonde beauty happened to appear before his eyes. Until this moment, Arthur finally realized the blonde girl next door, Nina, was the client he was supposed to accompany today. Upon learning the truth, Arthur froze on the spot. A client as stunning as this, even if she didn't charge a penny, he'd still have to serve her well. With that, he sprang into action, immediately accompanying Nina up the mountain trail. It wasn't until now that Nina revealed the true purpose of this trip. Her father had been an avid hunter in his lifetime. Therefore, she wanted to bury his ashes in this mountain forest. Hearing this, Arthur quickly chimed in, saying he knew a bit about feng shui, and promised to find an excellent spot for Nina's father. But after hours of climbing through the rugged terrain, they still hadn't found the perfect place. Worried that Nina's body couldn't handle it, Arthur decided to stop and set up a tent, resting up so they could climb again at dawn, taking advantage of the break while setting up camp. The two got a chance to know each other better. Surprisingly, their tastes were strikingly similar. Both loved eating jambi, guozi, especially with 2 eggs added. At this point, Nina's cheeks flushed red, shyly smiling as she ducked into the tent. Before going in, she deliberately left the tent slightly open. This obvious hint, a 3-year-old could have understood its meaning, but alas, Arthur was as dense as a block of wood. Thinking the girl entered the tent because she felt hot, the next morning, the two set off toward the summit. However, as they ventured deeper into the mountain, the number of wild beasts lurking around grew denser. Arthur thought it was too dangerous ahead, so he told Nina to stay put and not move. He would go ahead to scout the situation, ensuring it was safe before letting her proceed. Little did he expect, as Arthur reached the peak and scanned the surroundings with binoculars, he froze completely. In front of him, there weren't just herds of deer. Something seems to be hanging on the tree in the distance, and upon closer inspection, it is actually a person. Arthur gasps in shock, holding his gun tightly as he cautiously moves toward it. When he gets closer, he realizes the person is already lifeless. Looking at the situation, it's clear this was caused by an air crash. Such an unfortunate tragedy. At this moment, Arthur notices an iron box near his feet. Unable to resist the urge to investigate further, he opens it and freezes in place. The iron box is filled with stacks of US dollars, easily worth millions. Arthur is ecstatic. Who would have thought that coming hunting with a beautiful woman would lead to such an unexpected windfall? Without a moment's hesitation, he stuffs the iron box into his backpack and sprints down the mountain. But just as he meets up with Nina, gunfire erupts from all directions. No need to guess. It's likely someone tracked them here. Fortunately, Arthur was once a scout, quick and agile on his feet. In an instant, he springs into action, relying on his exceptional skills. He swiftly takes out the approaching enemies. Then, grabbing Nina's hand, he dashes away from the scene at full speed. Along the way, he effortlessly takes down 2 more pursuers. Nina watches Arthur in all her eyes sparkling with admiration. Her gaze is filled with pure reverence. At this point, Arthur reveals the secret to Nina, and promises that if she helps him escape alive, they'll split the money 50-50. To his surprise, Nina declines. She claims she has no interest in the money and just wants to experience the thrill of killing. As soon as her words fade, the roar of a motorcycle engine echoes in the distance. The two immediately spring into action. Nina hides in the shadows, weapon ready. Arthur deliberately raises the backpack high to lure the enemy in. Sure enough, the pursuers arrive in no time. In the blink of an eye, the 2 pursuers are taken care of. But before they can catch their breath, a mercenary disguised exceptionally well suddenly grabs hold of Nina. Arthur's mind races. In an instant, Arthur already had a plan. He pretended to surrender, waiting for the enemy to let their guard down, then seized the moment to quickly draw his gun and defuse the crisis. After escaping, they immediately started to evacuate, but they hadn't gone far when Arthur noticed Nina had been wounded on her thigh at some point. Arthur immediately knelt down, rolled up her pant leg to check the injury. Unexpectedly, Nina thought he was too slow, so she simply took off her pants herself to let him see more clearly. After checking, it turned out to be just a surface wound. Nina reluctantly put her pants back on, then continued running forward, with Arthur still fleeing for their lives. Because Nina had a thigh injury, her speed was much slower than before. Arthur quickly made a decision, planning to stash this box of money inside a big tree first, since carrying so much money was really getting in the way. Coincidentally, the tree trunk had a natural hollow. Just need to use a rope to hang the iron box in the center of the tree hole. From the outside, it would look just like an ordinary tree. After dealing with the pursuers right in front of them, they could come back for the box of money later. The next day, the two continued on their escape journey. Not sure how long they walked. After all the hardship, they finally saw the highway. Not long after, a truck drove over. As luck would have it, the driver turned out to be an acquaintance of Arthur's, and he happened to be heading to town too, perfect to give them a ride. But as they walked toward the back of the truck, the driver secretly pulled out a wrench, quietly following them.
Ling Ling.
Go to the back with your boyfriend. Hurry up!
This old guy actually planned to double-cross them. The unprepared two were tied up tightly. It turned out this old guy had been eyeing Arthur for a while, ever since he found out they picked up a box of US dollars. He set a trap to control them first. Seeing Nina keeping her mouth shut, he had no choice but to turn and interrogate Arthur again. But Arthur's mind was completely focused on Nina's safety. After confirming that Nina is safe, the stone hanging in his heart fell to the ground. I saw him break the chain with a very strong pull. Look at that old boy. Has been killed in chains. Just as he was about to go to Nina to untie, the female boss has led his men to chase after him. Arthur and Baldhead unfold close hand-to-hand combat. It is hard to tell from fist to meat. Nina has quietly hidden her figure. Only wait until the time is ripe to attack. That gunshot. Arthur thought Nina had been killed. It made him angry. The strength of the fists and feet suddenly increased, but it is not public. Just when the Asian cut was about to fail, just to listen to the bang, the bald head never got up again. Only now did I know that Nina was not the one who was killed. Together, they finally cleaned up the enemy. A box of bills, plus a pretty girl. Arthur was a winner in life. If you think this is the end, that is too simple to think. They pulled the heavy iron box out of the hole in the tree, just as Yaqing was expecting to open the box for inspection. I didn't think Nina was in a hurry. Take a pistol out of a wooden box. Nina finally showed her true colors. Turns out he knew about the crash here. As the leader of another force, he deliberately approached Arthur, and with his skill, eliminate the dissidents for yourself. The story of going up to the mountain to bury my father. It is just a cover for fooling people. From the moment of first sight, Arthur would have fallen into his chess game. It can be seen that the ancestors were right. Green bamboo snake's mouth, wasp tail needle. To General Bai, it can be the most poisonous woman heart.